This right here is the 2023 Riot 9000 ATAC EPS C-Tech 4 with the 9000 four-stroke in it. That is a mouthful for a snowmobile, but what's cool is that this is such an awesome sled for 2023. Now, Arctic Cat has taken all the good stuff out of the Thundercat with the EPS, the ATAC suspension, as well as the 9000 turbo, and they went ahead and they dumped it into a Riot, which is a great sled. I mean, it's got the heated seat, it's got all the cool gadgets and gizmos on it. They just went ahead and put a 146-inch slide action rear suspension in. This Riot is not the Riot X. I consider this to be an on-trail sled, even though it has a 146-inch rear skid. The reason I say that is because the track on this is a 1.352 Cobra. And if anybody knows a 1.352 Cobra, they know it really isn't all that good off trail, even when it's 146 inches in length. Now, the slide action rear suspension is also one of those ones that works great on the trail. Off trail, it'll do the job, but with a 1.352, you really don't have all that much lug to get yourself around when the powder gets deep. So for me, the Riot is an on-trail sled. You can play a little bit off trail, but really I think you're gonna have the most fun with this Riot, keeping it on the trails. So this really is what's new from Arctic Cat for 2023 when it comes to the Riot, the 9000 being in this sled. And another one of the reasons why I say that I think you'll be more happy on trail with this Riot is because that 200 class four-stroke turbo, well, it's not all that light. And when you play off trail, light is right. So I find it to be really comfortable on trail. And you know that that 9000 power is impressive, strong, fun. I mean, when you're on the trail with a 146-inch track and you squeeze the throttle, this thing lifts the skis, and there is no possible way that that track can keep traction. There is just too much horsepower going to the ground. Now, along with those reasons for keeping it on trail is the fact that it has ATAC and EPS as well. Those two things do add some weight to this sled, which is already a heavier sled due to the fact that it has the four-stroke in it, so it really is at home on the trail. But a lot of that kind of sounds like, oh, well, maybe AJ doesn't like this sled. Not at all. If you keep this thing on the trail and play a little bit off trail, you are going to have a blast. I love the handling characteristics of it. I like the ergonomics of this snowmobile. It feels comfortable, it feels right. The seating position is great. It's all day comfort. And I honestly, the wind protection from it as well, something where I am right now, it's actually fairly cold. I find it to be very warm and comfortable. It does have a little bit of a higher windshield on it, but as I get older, I appreciate these taller windshields because they're keeping me warm. When you get down to some of the finer details about this sled, ATAC suspension, it really gives you control over the trail. And when you're out there, you know, riding through, maybe you're playing a little bit off trail, maybe you're, you know, heading up the mountain a little bit, but you're sticking most to the trails themselves. The ATAC suspension, on the way down at the end of the day, you can bump this thing up without having to get off and change those suspension settings. You don't have to do it. It just does it right from the hand controls. I really appreciate that. And on a sled that's going to stick mostly to the trails, this is a huge benefit. But should you take it off trail and say you find a big powder pillow or something that you want to jump off of, well, just bump the shocks up to high and you're ready to go because your compression is full stiff. It's very nice. It works really well. It's got 3 settings, so it's not too hard to figure out. And the results that you get from it are, you know, really beneficial. These Fox shocks, the IQS shocks, are a really high quality damper, both front and rear. We're not oblivious to the fact that Arctic Cat has had this chassis for a little while, but what I do appreciate about what Arctic Cat's doing for 2023 is taking a whole lot of goodness and packaging it into a new vehicle. The Riot has never had a 9000 in it. For this season, they deliver that, along with ATAC, along with EPS, along with the heated seat. So essentially, this is like a Thundercat in a Riot. And it is a lot of fun, and it will go off trail, but it does do a great job riding on trail. So for me, this is for that guy who looked at the Thundercat and said, nah, that's just not my sled. This is the next step up. It delivers a lot of performance in a lot of different areas, much more wide range than I would say the Thundercat is. And for 2023, I think it's a great offering, and it's something that Arctic Cat is able to do with the current chassis that they have.